हेलो दोस्तों, दिस इज भारत कुमार एंड यू आर वाचिंग माय चैनल निर्मल इन्फो अपडेट्स।
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left.
The barbaric attack on Indian soldiers in Galwa Valley on the night on June 15th will have a major significance on Indo China relations for years to come. It once again proved that China can't be trusted because after making statements to de-escalate the tension in the region, the Chinese army attacked Indian soldiers with rods, barbed wires and sharp objects. The Indian soldiers were apparently unarmed and following the protocol set in place by India and China. The retaliation by Indian soldiers who managed to inflict even more damage to the enemy highlights that the Indian army is better trained than the Chinese army in terms of strength and stamina to sustain in the region. Actually, it's the courage and strength of Indian soldiers that has forced China to soften its stand and indulge in talks to withdraw from the Galwa Valley, says Lt. General M. Kumar Sawhney, former General Officer Commanding-in-Chief, Indian Army. But we need to be very careful as this could be a trap of the Chinese army. This could easily be a hoax and they could open the conflict on other locations too, apart from having some hidden agenda in Galwa Valley, as Lt. General M. Kumar Sawhney. He believes that diplomatic efforts pay results only when we talk from the position of strength. We should keep preparing for the possible assault, only then the enemy will realize the mistake of disturbing the status quo and also the perils of launching a deadly attack on our Germans, believes Lt. Gen Sawhney. Growing in India, its ideology and India's acceptance world over is a major concern for China, which wants to be the undisputed leader in the region, flexing its military strength to force nations to toe its line. Experts warn that India should be watchful of Chinese moves and make efforts to become a strong economic power. Chinese economy is 5 times that of India, and this puts China in a strong position, better equipment, better facilities. Also, the money power allows China to invest heavily in other countries, distribute loans, which leads to dependence of these countries on China, says N.K. Tripathi, former Director General CRPF. Experts believe that China has repeatedly flouted international norms when it comes to respecting territorial claims of other countries. Human rights record of China is dismal, and India should not shy away from speaking the facts on matters that embarrass China. The fight is going to be long, and India should devise a long-term strategy that should not be affected by who holds office in Delhi. The Indian Defence Minister is on a 3-day tour to Russia, the official engagement being to attend the Victory Day parade at Moscow as a guest. A contingent of Indian armed forces would also be participating in the parade. It is interesting to note that the Chinese counterpart of our defense minister would be in attendance of the same parade as M.R. Rajnath Singh. Questions have been asked across the politico-military circles as to the true nature of both the defense minister in attendance during these crucial COVID times, and correctly so, because, to the trained eye, this seems to more than applauding a parade. It is envisaged that M.R. Rajnath Singh would try to impress upon the Russian government to give the industry a much required impetus for early delivery of India-bound S-400s, in view of the current situation. Whispers of a push being given by the RM to defense deals with India is certainly doing the rounds of South Block and Delhi. On the table are deals for the S-400 air defense missile system in the recently unveiled by the IAF, the Su-30s and MiG-29's fighter proposal, totaling to 33 high-performance aircraft. The latter, however, is yet to be signed. The chances of side deals for spares for existing Russian defense equipment also cannot be ruled out. As far as the S-400 missile deal goes, it has already been inked, and the IAF awaits the delivery of the much-coveted long-range air defense equipment, which would put it at par with the PLEF setup. The system comprises of 3 different types of missile, with the longest range being 400 kilometers, a fact which would daunt the raiding PLEF fighters. China incidentally has a similar system to augment its existing S-300 and HQ-9 setup for its layered defense of vital installations. At present, on the Indian inventory, the farthest an air defense missile can shoot down an enemy fighter is approximately 30 kms, the Akash. Pushing this far range to a phenomenal 400 kilometers would definitely be a huge boost to the IAF's air defense capability. It is envisaged that M.R. Rajnath Singh would try to impress upon the Russian government to give the industry a much required impetus for early delivery of India-bound S-400s, in view of the current situation. If the grapevine is to be believed, then India's delivery has been delayed mainly because of clubbing of the deliveries of other countries by the manufacturer M/S Faker Machine Building Design Bureau. Speaking of air defense missiles, a mention of replenishment of some existing Russian missile system of the IAF, in its present degraded form, may also get a place in the discussions. On the other expected lines of discussions, the RM would most probably bring out the fast-tracking of order for the 33 fighter jets, 21 MiG-29s and 12 Su-30s. Though these orders are being now processed in India, a small mention in would help in the speeding up of production. The big questions here are what and when. The Indian Su-30 MKI is custom built for the IAF. These are now being licensed produced by HAL in India. So are these 12 new ones the same version or some other versions built by Russia? If same, why not HAL? Same is the dilemma for the MiG-29s. In case both are being produced by Russia, then wouldn't the deliveries take a pretty long time? After all, they need to be first built. Aircraft are seldom buy off-the-shelf products. In view of the present Sino-Indo standoff post-Galwan, there is a chance that the defense minister may also put in a word to his Russian counterpart about the shopping list of the 3 services which have been cleared under the emergency powers of their respective service vice chiefs. In all probabilities, these would constitute a plethora of weapons varying in requirements and capabilities. Also amongst these would most likely be the much-needed spares for our existing equipment. It must be appreciated that both India and China have military hardware which is almost common and of Russian origin. For example, the Chinese Su-30s are MKK version whereas the Indian ones are MKI, not much of difference except for user demand and enhancements. Similar would be the missile systems. Of course, the pleftas have an array of reversed engineered Russian weapon systems, nonetheless they too require spares. The presence of that Chinese Defense Minister General Wei Feng in Russia, at the same time, cannot rule out the fact that similar negotiations would be on from their side too. It appears that the negotiations race between India and China has started well before the war and incidentally, on the same table. The Indian Air Force has intensified its combat air patrols, CAP, in Ladakh in the last few days following the LAC face-off with China that left 20 Indian soldiers dead. Residents of Leh say that these days they are waking up to the noise of IAF fighter jets flying overhead and increased sorties of transport aircraft and helicopters. Fighter aircraft have been stationed at advanced air bases in Jammu and Kashmir as well as Punjab and Haryana, and the CAPs ensure that the IAF maintains a credible deterrence in the skies. IAF sources said that the Chinese have bolstered the presence of offensive air platforms at their airfields in Tibet. The Chinese have also brought in air defense elements at various locations where the standoff is taking place. We have our countermeasures in place and flight caps as per the demand of the situation, a senior IAF official said. People in Leh recall that May July 1999, the months of the cargo war, was the last time Lashkar Bakulari Airport saw such air activity. A retired honorary captain of Ladakh Scouts, Teshi Chhepal, a Veer Chakra Wardari of cargo war, is settled in Leh. It was in 1999 that Leh Airport saw this kind of an aerial activity since the Air Force had as its base during the cargo war. Otherwise, the city of Leh is very calm and quiet. For the last couple of months, tourists were also not coming due to coronavirus. The roads are deserted, pin drop silence prevails in the evenings, he says. In 1962, our Air Force was not as strong as it is today. From the kind of fighter jet sorties, one thing is quite evident, that if need be, our Air Force will provide full support to our army in the Galwan Valley or any other places and when required, and we shall give a befitting reply to the enemy, he adds. Tessering Wengk, a teacher of Tibetan Children's Village in Leh, says, the manner in which fighter jets and choppers are doing sorties every morning, people of the city are fearful. But people of Ladakh are extremely brave and patriotic. The noise of fighter jets also gives confidence that we are absolutely safe, he adds. Earlier, only a few domestic flights would land at the airport. These days, the airport is almost filled with IAF jets and choppers. A major concern for the IAF is keeping an eye not only on the situation in eastern Ladakh but also along the line of control with Pakistan. The Skardu Air Base in Gilgit-Baltistan area, for example, is very close. We are seized of all these issues, and we are well prepared to deal with them. There is no cause for any alarm, a senior officer said. Yeah.